Are we, has the meeting started? Are we on the meeting?
Yeah, it started recording. I just need to move Commissioner DeBose over. One moment.
Tell me when everyone's ready, and I will proceed.
Catherine, Commissioner DeBose might need someone to click accept for the panelist thing.
Thank you. Hi, I just want to test the audio on this device. Can you hear us?
We can hear you. I don't currently see video.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like the video is not working on this device, so I'll just leave it turned off and this computer unmuted so that the commissioner can be heard when she wants to weigh in, okay?
You know, I need my face.
I'm sorry, it's not working.
You may want to mute, and do we have another device in the office that can be given so she can be on camera? But also you might just want to mute.
My phone is fully charged, if that could help.
Yeah, can you get to your email on your phone?
That .gov never worked for me.
Okay, I can text you. We'll see if that will work.
Catherine, do you want to mute? Thanks.
And
Hey, Tanya, I just wanted to explain. The challenge is Commissioner DeBose won't be able to unmute by herself. And the camera is not working on the computer that we set her up with. Unfortunately, it would take 5 to 10 minutes to get a new one going.
Is there anybody in the office that can support that while you proceed with the meeting?
Give me a second. Okay, we are working. We should be ready to go shortly. Thanks for your patience, everyone.
Danny or Jody, I think the recording started again.
Yeah, we had a request. I can talk to you about it offline, but I'm just putting it on for now. And when we upload this, we'll probably just cut out the wait time.
Hi, Danny. This is Catherine. Commissioner DeBose is here. Can you rename us and make us a panelist?
Yep, will do.
Thank you so much.
You're already a panelist, actually, so I don't have to do anything.
Perfect. Okay, I'm gonna leave her unmuted. Commissioner DeBose, I'm just gonna hand you this phone.
It's a phone.
Yep,
okay.
it's a phone. Right now, the way it's positioned, it is pointing at your face.
And I'm at a short, I'm
Yeah,
on a short
yep.
leash.
You're pretty good on batteries, so I don't think
Now,
you'll need
I
it.
asked Talia about closing the door. I wanted it open, but I think there's gonna be feedback.
A little
What do
bit,
you
yeah.
think? So
Um,
use your discretion. I
okay.
feel better if it's open, but I think that the sound will present a problem.
I think it's too. Oh, here's what we can do.
Let me find out you got a stand.
She did.
Yay.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
you got a stand. Okay, it's not completely perfect, but it's pretty good. You're on camera. Okay?
Let me see.
Okay.
Believe so. And my position well.
Time is 6:29 p.m.
Oh, God, that's not good.
Are we ready now?
Everyone's here. We should be good.
Good evening, everyone. This CPOC Commissioners Meeting is hereby called to order. The time is now 6:30 p.m. My name is Hassan Bennett. I am the interim chair of the Citizens Police Oversight Commission, and I will be facilitating this meeting. This public meeting of the Citizens Police Oversight Commission was properly advertised pursuant to the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. I will now take time to call roll. When I say your name, commissioners, please acknowledge that you're present. Commissioner John Solomon,
Present.
Commissioner Melanie DeBose,
Present.
Commissioner Hakeem P.A.,
Present.
Commissioner Hassan Bennett, myself, as obviously present. The board had an executive session on September 16th and September 19th of this year related to personnel and employment matters, as well as confidentiality and business privilege. As we move forward, now we'll receive the presentation of the findings of the internal investigation concerning the conduct of Rosaura Torres Thomas. Before we proceed, is Ms. Thomas in the meeting?
I don't see a name on the side, so I don't see them present. See her present.
Attorney Twig? My next question would be, could we proceed without the presence of Rosaura Torres Thomas?
Yes, we can. We've informed Commissioner Thomas that this meeting will go ahead, whether she is present or not.
Okay. So now I'll call on our Director of Investigations, Nicholas Cato. The floor is yours, sir.
Good evening, everyone. This is Nick Cotto, the Director of Investigations for CPOC. I'm here to provide a public summary of an internal investigation into conduct of Commissioner Rosaura Torres Thomas. This confidential internal investigation began after a member of the public admitted that they were aware of confidential facts that were disclosed during an executive session, and further claimed that the executive session was recorded without the board's knowledge. The purpose of the investigation was to provide CPOC's general counsel with relevant information so that she could provide legal advice to the agency. Accordingly, the investigation is confidential and protected by the attorney-client privilege. Commissioner Thomas was made the subject of the investigation because we had reason to believe that she and this member of the public had an undisclosed relationship and that Commissioner Thomas may have provided this individual with confidential information. The subsequent investigation uncovered substantial evidence of misconduct by Commissioner Thomas, substantial evidence that she violated her duties as a commissioner, and substantial evidence that she is unable or unwilling to perform her duties as a commissioner. Now, this decision to conduct the investigation was not made lightly. Commissioners have collectively given hundreds, if not thousands of hours to this agency and provided vital community input into police oversight. The vast majority of those hours are donated time. The agency and community is incredibly grateful for the largely unpaid and thankless service that the commissioners are committed to providing to the agency and the residents of Philadelphia. Before turning to the investigation's findings, I want to spend a few minutes discussing the steps the investigation team took and the efforts it made to give Commissioner Thomas the opportunity to be heard and to review the evidence against her. Over the last 4 months, CPOC's investigation unit collected and reviewed the emails stored on Commissioner Thomas's phila.gov email account. There are hundreds of these emails. The purpose of the email review was to learn whether Commissioner Thomas used her phila.gov email account to disseminate confidential information. The investigation unit also received phone records from the cell phone carrier that Commissioner Thomas used to conduct CPOC business. These records recorded the times and dates that Commissioner Thomas used her phone to call or text individuals relevant to this investigation. The records did not reveal the substance of any of her phone communications. The investigation unit also conducted interviews of relevant CPOC staff and gathered publicly available information and statements that Commissioner Thomas has made during her tenure. The investigation unit also repeatedly tried to interview Commissioner Thomas about the allegations that she was mishandling agency information. Those interview requests were issued over many months, including invitations on April 5th, May 8th, May 14th, July 22nd, and August 8th. Commissioner Thomas either refused to provide an interview or she did not respond at all. Finally, the investigation made clear that Commissioner Thomas was using personal email accounts to conduct CPOC business. Because those email accounts were personal accounts and not city-controlled accounts, the investigation unit could not access them. The investigation unit tried to access that material by serving Commissioner Thomas with a subpoena seeking the production of CPOC-related materials. Commissioner Thomas has not complied with that subpoena. Instead, she sent the unit a cell phone photo of her laptop screen displaying a list of emails in her personal account and claimed that the photo counted as compliance with the subpoena. The unit has explained to her multiple times that the subpoena requires her to produce actual emails, yet to date, she has not done so. I will now summarize 5 key findings from this investigation. In a recent executive session, the voting commissioners were provided with a detailed account of each of these findings and the documentary evidence to support them. Those details, many of which touched on confidential information, were provided in a non-public setting to protect both Commissioner Thomas's privacy interests and CPOC's duty to keep confidential information confidential. Commissioner Thomas was given many opportunities to review this evidence, and she has refused to do so. And what I am sharing is a summary of those findings. First, Commissioner Thomas repeatedly disclosed confidential CPOC information to unauthorized third parties, including members of the media. For instance, Commissioner Thomas received privileged and confidential legal advice and instructions from Philadelphia's law department on a subject related to the commissioner's legal duties. This legal advice was provided in an email attachment, which included, quote, privileged and confidential, close quote, in the document's title and on every page of the document itself. The memorandum was intended to be private, and indeed, Commissioner Thomas had a duty as a commissioner to maintain its confidentiality. Contrary to that duty, Commissioner Thomas forwarded that memo to members of the media. Separately, she forwarded other internal commissioners' discussions to the media using the BCC feature in her email program. Documentary evidence also shows that Commissioner Thomas disclosed confidential information she learned in an executive session to a member of the public. 2, Commissioner Thomas maintained an ongoing, undisclosed relationship with a person designated as Philadelphia Resident A, an individual known to harass CPOC staff and file meritless lawsuits against the city. As documented by the cell phone data obtained by the unit, Commissioner Thomas exchanged over 600 calls and texts with Philadelphia Resident A. Many of those communications coincided with confidential executive sessions held by CPOC commissioners. Commissioner Thomas has claimed that she did not have a relationship with Philadelphia Resident A, but that claim is contradicted by the call data. Despite repeated warnings by CPOC commissioners against communicating with Philadelphia Resident A, Commissioner Thomas continued to do so. For instance, in October 2023, Commissioner Thomas was warned against communicating with Philadelphia Resident A by another commissioner. In response, Commissioner Thomas denied that she ever spoke with Philadelphia Resident A. That denial was untrue. Immediately after the warning, Commissioner Thomas exchanged text messages and phone calls with Philadelphia Resident A. Additionally, in April 2024, when directly asked whether she had a relationship with Philadelphia Resident A, Commissioner Thomas told her fellow commissioners that she did not communicate with Philadelphia Resident A. That assertion was also untrue. By that point, Commissioner Thomas and Philadelphia Resident A had exchanged hundreds of text messages and spent hours speaking with each other by phone. Number 3, Commissioner Thomas also maintained frequent communication with a person designated as Philadelphia Resident B, an individual who poses a security threat to CPOC and has a history of threatening behavior towards city departments. As documented in cell phone data obtained by the unit, Commissioner Thomas exchanged hundreds of calls and text messages with Philadelphia Resident B. 4, Commissioner Thomas used personal email accounts to conduct CPOC business, forwarding sensitive information from her official phila.gov account to her private accounts on multiple occasions. When subpoenaed to provide relevant communications from her personal accounts, Commissioner Thomas refused to comply, thus impeding this investigation. 5, Commissioner Thomas declined multiple opportunities to be interviewed as part of this investigation instead making false public statements about the nature and motivation of this inquiry. Finally, tonight our commissioners may hear Commissioner Thomas respond to this evidence for the first time. I note for the record that Commissioner Thomas has had more than ample opportunity to participate in this investigation, to provide the investigation unit with a statement, and to understand the evidence against her. She was invited for an interview 5 times, and she refused to attend any of those interviews. She was given an open invitation to visit our office in person and review the evidence against her. She did not. Instead, she claimed she did not feel safe in our office. We offered to meet her in person at City Hall, where she could review evidence against her outside of our office. In response, she said that she would not meet us in person. We finally offered to explain the evidence against her through a virtual meeting or phone call, and she refused those offers as well. That concludes my public summary of the investigation, and I'll turn the floor over to Ms. Twigg.
Thank you. Commissioners, I want to briefly talk about the legal standard and the removal resolution before you this evening. I will ask the host to share that on the screen now. Thank you. To begin, Philadelphia City Code, Section 21-1203, Paragraph 7, gives this body the power to remove someone from the Board of Commissioners for cause. It defines that standard as follows. Cause for removal includes, but is not limited to,
Is it me or
misconduct.
she froze?
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear
So
you.
we can hear you
No,
fine.
I
You're not
can't hear.
frozen. I think your Wi-Fi might be off, Hassan. She's fine.
Can you hear me now, Hassan?
Okay, so my internet appears to be unstable. Give me a second, please.
Of course.
Can you talk?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay
Okay,
now?
I can hear you clearly. Yes, I can.
Great. So just going back to the beginning of that section, Philadelphia City Code gives this body the power to remove someone from the Board of Commissioners for cause. It defines that standard as follows. Quote, cause for removal includes, but is not limited to, misconduct, inability or failure to perform required duties or obligations, post-appointment conviction for a felony, or a substantial violation of city or commonwealth ethics laws. This investigation findings that you've just heard indicate that Commissioner Torres Thomas engaged in a pattern of behavior that provides this board with cause to believe that she engaged in serious misconduct in 3 ways. First, Commissioner Thomas provided confidential information to third parties who were not entitled to that information. As such, she has demonstrated that she is unable or has failed to perform her required duties and obligations as a member of this board. Second, Commissioner Thomas has an ongoing, undisclosed relationship with Philadelphia residents who have lengthy histories of harassing and demeaning CPOC staff. Commissioner Thomas has lied about these relationships and maintained them in contradiction to legal advice. And finally, Commissioner Thomas's refusal to explain her conduct or to participate in this internal investigation is conduct itself, which is prohibited by the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter, Section 10.110. Before I turn the platform back to you, Chair, I would like to briefly address several false allegations that Commissioner Thomas has made publicly. And actually, before I do that, I also want to just reiterate the fact that Mr. Cotto has talked tonight about the lengths we went to discuss these findings with Commissioner Thomas. We repeatedly contacted her for an interview during which she would have been given the opportunity to review the evidence against her. She did not appear. As we approached the conclusion of the investigation, we sent repeated requests up to as recently as a week ago, offering her an open-ended opportunity to view the evidence. We offered her a meeting in our office. We offered a meeting in City Hall. We offered a remote summary of the evidence. and she declined every time. So again, I would like to address a couple of false allegations that Commissioner Thomas has made in the media related to what she claims this investigation is about. The first is that in April 2023, after a community member made allegations against city employees following a CPOC event, our agency referred that matter to the Office of Inspector General in an abundance of caution. The OIG cleared city employees of any wrongdoing. Shortly after the incident in April, Commissioner Thomas, like several other people who were present, circulated her statement about what she witnessed to other commissioners and to several staff members who had been present. Commissioner Thomas now claims that she is being retaliated against for being a whistleblower. This is false. A whistleblower is someone who reveals information about an organization that is illegal or fraudulent. However, in this case, the agency, and not Commissioner Thomas, had reported the situation to the OIG and requested a neutral investigation from the OIG, which they did perform. Also, the statements that were provided to the OIG shortly after the incident in April 2023, and then the OIG shared their findings that city employees had not done anything wrong in November of 2023. All of this occurred a long time before the current investigation into Commissioner Thomas's conduct, which began a year later in April 2024. Her claim of retaliation is also false. Put simply, as you heard tonight, this investigation started because a member of the public informed us that they were aware of confidential information discussed during an executive session. Commissioner Thomas became the subject of the investigation when the evidence indicated that she was the one who released that information. And finally, this investigation has nothing to do with Commissioner's ethnicity. As I've already stated, the evidence of misconduct started this investigation, which led us to Commissioner Thomas in this case. We are disappointed that she would make this unfounded allegation. Chair, I will turn back to you and ask we can leave up the resolution or take it down as the commissioners would like. And I would suggest just opening it up and asking any member of anyone who's present as a member of the audience, in case Commissioner Thomas is present but has not identified herself in the Zoom.
I'm in the meeting.
With that, I would ask you to leave the resolution on the screen as we move forward. Can we have public comment, please? Do we have public comment?
Commissioner Bennett, we're not doing public comment tonight. Are you asking for deliberation between the panelists?
I wanted to see if Commissioner Thomas was in the
She is not present or
in
is
the
not.
meeting anywhere, maybe under an undisclosed name or
If she
anything.
is under an undisclosed name, if she wants to raise her hand, we can promote her, but there is no one currently under her name.
Okay. Next, I'll open the floor up for commissioner deliberation. I guess I'll start if no one has their hand raised. We had a careful review of the information and investigation that was provided to all of us. The role of a commissioner is one of trust and commitment to transparency and accountability, as well as integrity. We must all remind ourselves that it is paramount. This decision cannot be made lightly, as it reflects on our unwavering responsibility to uphold the public's confidence in the Citizens Police Oversight Commission and its mission to foster accountability and build trust between the community as well as law enforcement. And this is of my observation of what was read, what was presented before us. The lack of participation in the investigation, the lack of a defense, the lack of answers is what troubles me in this matter. As a commissioner, and our time as a commissioner, for the last, I would say, we've been the commission for over 2 years, and for over a year, we've been told that there is no relationship, undisclosed relationship. So to find out that there is a relationship is very troubling to me. I think as I go forward, I'll call on each commissioner one by one to see just where their mind is at regarding this investigation and the findings that has been presented to us before we go on to a vote. I'll start with Commissioner DeBose.
Thank you, Commissioner Bennett. Am I coming across clearly?
Yes, you are.
I seek your apologies for the raspiness of my voice. I've been slightly under the weather. But despite that, my fellow commissioners and I have done an exhaustive review of the evidence with regard to this breach of trust and this breach of confidentiality. I wish that Commissioner Thomas, my fellow commissioner, had chosen to come before us. If not before, certainly now. I want to go on record as saying that nearly 90 days ago, I responded to a request for a motion to make a decision about how we would move forward with regard to Commissioner Thomas. In that motion, I recommended that our commissioner be placed on suspension pending the outcome of a thorough investigation. And here's what I learned. Well, before I tell you what I learned, let me tell you how I have seen and interpreted these series of events. From the very beginning, I deeply admired the commitment and the passion that Commissioner Thomas demonstrated in wanting to have justice be everyone's portion. I recognized her passion was based on past pains and past hurts and past injustices that she perceived were railed against her. And I honored the fact that she had the courage to speak up, not only for her own sense of justice, but justice for all. So I admired that, and I heard her speak often and passionately about the need to right wrongs and the need to see to it that offenders of our public and of our community, no matter who they were, the offenders were not above the law, and that justice should be brought to those who have been offended down through the years. So I honor her for her passion, but I am equally disappointed for her inability to exercise patience in the process. That interpretation that I'm offering is reflective of the fact that we have read evidences that while we were all under investigation as commissioners, and we were all trying to resolve the issues of an upstart agency, we all came under scrutiny and we were all challenged to maintain the accountability and the transparency that our legislation calls for. We were all subject to the same expectations. I am disappointed that, according to the records, my fellow commissioner deemed it necessary to move ahead and seek her own form of justice. I am disappointed that she seemingly could not wait for the process to be exercised in a manner that would be in the best interest of each of us as commissioners, and in the best interest of staff, and in the best interest of the community as a whole. I am disappointed at the relationships forged outside of the committee that can prove to be damning to the overall work and the integrity of this body. I am disappointed in our commissioner's failure to engage in communication with her fellow commissioners who held out with the greatest confidence and the greatest expectation. I certainly did, that she would rise to the occasion, share her perspective, and give us the opportunity to seek other alternatives than the one that we're about to recommend, that I'm about to recommend. To my chagrin, I cannot see a path forward for our commissioner. I have heard her articulate numerous times her distrust for our processes, her distrust for the CPOC staff, her distrust for every aspect of leadership. And clearly by her actions, she has demonstrated distrust for her fellow commissioners. So to my chagrin and to my dismay, I don't see a path forward for a continued relationship when we have to be so cautious about the information that's being disseminated. And we are trying desperately to build a relationship of trust between entities like the PPD and other investigatory units to make sure that every egregious act against the members of the community is dealt with a heavy hand of justice, and no injustice will be tolerated. So again, I am saddened. I have always admired Commissioner Thomas for her passion. I feel disappointed, having read what I've read, that her dispassion was displaced. And while in the pursuit of justice, it seems that she has lost her way. So I am prepared to voice my recommendation at the time that our acting chair calls for it. I am Commissioner Melanie DuBose, and I stand behind what I have simply tried to articulate.
Thank you, Commissioner DuBose. I will now hand the floor over to Commissioner John Solomon for his thoughts on the investigation.
Commissioner Solomon here. I first want to say, I believe in the importance of fairness. I believe in the importance of understanding why behind actions. which is why our fellow Commissioner Thomas was given multiple opportunities to share the why behind the what. I've also taken the time out to review all the findings, just to see, you know, the perspective of the allegations that was brought on to Commissioner Thomas. And I took my time, you know, all the commissioners, all the staff, we took our time with really reviewing these findings. And it's unfortunate that, you know, based on what I reviewed, that it appears that confidential information was shared to an unauthorized third party. Not only was confidential information shared once, but multiple times. And on multiple occasions, we wanted to ask the question why and to understand exactly what was going on, but just wasn't given that respect and that time commitment to simply hear why these actions were taking place for a long period of time. And for that reason, that's what gave me my reason for suggesting what I plan on suggesting tonight. So I think that was enough for me to review, for me to come to a decision. So, yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Solomon. I will now move on to Commissioner Hakeem PA and hand him the floor.
Can you guys hear me well?
Yes.
Sorry, my mouse keeps freezing on my laptop, so I just moved over to my phone. Well, I think, you know, one of the biggest things is obviously when we voted to suspend, it was under having understanding that there would be a very thorough investigation. So I want to thank obviously Nick and the team for investigating thoroughly. A lot of the evidence that was given was very apparent that the trust was broken, right? And a lot of the information that was given to us as commissioners was misused and abused. And it's something that as current commissioners, we have to continue to protect in order to build further relationships with other stakeholders and important members of the community. So I won't continue to be the dead horse. Obviously, you know, Nick outlined a lot of the evidence today, and it's something that we are all well aware of. And it's not too much to say other than, you know, us as commissioners, we have a responsibility to continue to protect the agency, the information that we receive in order to make long-term changes for our community. So that's all I'll say.
Thank you, Commissioner PA. I guess it's on me. Since applying for this commission to be a commissioner, we all understood the goal was to foster trust and transparency as a commissioner. But one thing, I'm hurt. I'm hurt about this investigation, and I'm hurt because I opened my vision out to each commissioner individually. I've put endless hours into CPOC to ensure that we were moving in the right direction. And I haven't always been right? But I've always had reasoning behind my thoughts and my plans, and I produce it to each one of my fellow commissioners because we are a body. I want to date back there what Councilman Jones always says. He calls us this baby that they give the tools to move forward. But we are one. All of us make up that body. So when I formulate these ideas, I always lay it out to the commission as a whole to decide how we will move forward. And I say that because when I look at the investigation and reviewing what we reviewed in the findings, it's hard because I realized where I was being transparent and my fellow commissioners were being transparent with each other, and we were talking about our visions, what we liked and disliked about the happenings of the agency. We weren't receiving that same transparency. We weren't moving as a body, right? It just, that part right there is hard for me. It's hard for me, not to grasp, but it's a hard pill to swallow. Because as an agency, and not just not disclosing it, right? But when asked about it, when questioned about this relationship and interactions, it was a fabrication. It was a lie. We were told that the commissioner did not have this relationship or did not have contact, had never had contact with him. And the evidence shows otherwise. The investigation shows otherwise. So when I look at this body, right? Are we safe as an agency moving forward if we had, with evidence of that has been presented for us? That is the main question for myself. Is this body, can this body be productive? Can the community trust us, knowing this has taken place in this agency and we were in the dark? And when I say knowing this taking place, if we move forward, can this be resolved with this training? And I don't, and my decision will be based on that fact. Can we trust Commissioner Thomas to move forward with us and build as an agency through training and the ideas that we have formulated and coming together as one and moving after, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, and moving after a quorum decision, moving as a unit, moving as one body. It's plenty of times I've disagreed with what one commissioner says, but I still move as a body. It's plenty of times I'm asked a question and I don't go off the deep end and just answer it on my own, because I understand that I am a representation of the community through my commission, through my board of commissioners and our agency. So when I look at this investigation, it's just, I continue to look at our agency, and its mission hinges on trust and accountability. I repeat, our agency and this mission hinges on trust and accountability. And in my opinion, I'll just say it right now, after reviewing the findings of this investigation, I'm of belief that Commissioner Thomas has consistently compromised this agency and its trust through fabrications and disregard for the integrity of this agency. I've spent endless hours on the phone with Commissioner Thomas. I just felt you could have told me and we could have moved forward as a body, right? And I think she feels she is just in how she acted. But when you're dealing with a commission and this board of commission, it's bigger than Commissioner Bennett. It's bigger than Commissioner Elder DeBose. It's bigger than Commissioner John Solomon. It's bigger than Commissioner Hakeem P.A. It's bigger than Commissioner Thomas. It's bigger than each individual. We are an entity that serves community. So we cannot move forward as an individual. We are one. I am Commissioner Elder DeBose. I am Commissioner John Solomon. I am Commissioner Hakeem P.A. We won. We sit down in all the time and discuss CPOC business because that's what we are. Individuals that collaterally make up CPOC. And when we go outside of the mission of CPOC for our own just cause, we are no longer acting in not just collaboration, we're no longer acting in a progressive manner of CPOC. So with that being said, I'll call for, does anyone have a motion on the floor? Don't all speak at once. I can't call a motion. You spoke a lot. I can't call it.
You can call for a motion. Is
Mhm.
that what you're doing, Chair?
I'm calling for a motion.
This is Commissioner DeBose, and I move that we, if it's time to make a vote, that we vote so that we will know how this is to be resolved.
Do I hear anyone second that motion?
Is that Catherine is
Yeah, Chair, if it's okay for me to jump in for a second.
Mhm.
Just to clarify the legal mechanism here, this would be a motion to consider the resolution before you and to vote in favor of that resolution or against that resolution.
Okay.
Elder, is that?
Yeah, I
Oh.
wasn't sure if we had to make a vote and then consider the resolution or consider the resolution. And I didn't know the order. I'm sorry.
Does anyone second Elder's motion?
Commissioner PA seconds?
With that said, we shall consider this resolution. I will call for a vote. Commissioners, please state your name. And
Will the resolution be read in our hearing?
Catherine?
Yes, I can read the resolution now. I gave a summation of it earlier, but I'll read it verbatim right now.
Thank you.
The Board of the Citizens Police Oversight Commission resolution concerning the conduct of Rosaura Torres Thomas. Whereas, quote, cause for removal includes, but is not limited to, misconduct, inability or failure to perform required duties or obligations, post-appointment conviction for a felony, or a substantial violation of city or commonwealth ethics laws. That's from Philadelphia Code, Section 21-1203, Paragraph 7. Whereas Commissioner Thomas provided confidential information to third parties who were not entitled to that information. As such, she has demonstrated that she is unable or has failed to perform her required duties and obligations of a member of this board. Whereas Commissioner Thomas has an ongoing undisclosed relationship with Philadelphia residents who have lengthy histories of harassing and demeaning CPOC staff, Commissioner Thomas has lied about these relationships and maintained them in contradiction to legal advice. Whereas Commissioner Thomas's refusal to explain her conduct or participate in this internal investigation is misconduct in and of itself. Philadelphia Home Rule Charter, Section 10-110. Resolved that the Board of the Citizens Police Oversight Commission removes Rosaura Torres Thomas from her position as commissioner on the Citizens Police Oversight Commission in accordance with Philadelphia Code, Section 21-1203, 7B.
Thank you. With that being said, we've considered the motion. Do I see a motion to accept the resolve? Do I hear a motion to accept the resolve, accept or deny the resolve? Are we tabling the resolve or are we accepting it? The resolution.
Again, please pardon me, Chair, but I need the clarity of understanding, are we taking an individual vote? Or are you asking for a motion on the table for up or down?
A motion on the table to take the vote to accept the resolution presented by Attorney Catherine Twigg.
Okay, this is Commissioner DuBose again. In light of the findings and in light of my inability to see a path forward for our fellow commissioner, I move that we accept the resolution for the immediate dismissal of our fellow commissioner, Rosaura Torres Thomas.
Does any commissioner second that motion?
Commissioner Solomon here. I'll second the motion.
We have a motion on the table. As I call your name, state if you are in favor or not in favor of the motion on the table. Commissioner Hakeem PA.
Commissioner PA in favor.
Commissioner John Solomon.
Commissioner Solomon in favor.
Commissioner Melanie DuBose.
In favor of the motion.
I am Commissioner Hassan Bennett. I am in favor of the motion.
To dismiss.
With that, to dismiss, with that, the motion is passed. My apologies, my apologies. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
At this time, the meeting is adjourned.
I think you need to call for a motion to end the meeting.
Mhm.
I apologize. Is it a motion to end the meeting?
So moved.
Is it anyone second the motion to end the meeting?
Second.
I'm calling you individually. All in favor of ending the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. My apologies. This is an emotional time for me. A hard time for me as a commissioner. So my apologies.
Thank you.
With that, good night, everyone.
All right.